born in New Jersey, but the German name comes from my parents, who were from Mainz.
Mainz.
Yeah. So yeah, my dad was a German soldier, engineer. My mother was a secretary. I worked for him in Wiesbaden, and then they together they moved to America. And I was born in America. So
In America.
and I stayed there. Almost moved back to Germany. But then. I was older as far as, I wasn't 4 years old or anything like that, but I started when I was 13. And I was, a friend down the block had a garage and they were playing drums and bass. And I thought it was the greatest thing in the world. I don't know why, but I was just drawn to it. And they played bass and drums, and so I got a guitar so I could play with them. And about a year later, I was like, wow, these guys are really bad. I couldn't play with them anymore because I was already better than they were so much. So then I started, I practiced like 5 hours a day as soon as I got the guitar, and I practiced the whole day. And I fell in love with it. That's all there really is to say about it. I started playing professionally. I think my first show was 15.
15.
Yeah, and then I played different parties and things at school, and then, but the actual first performance was 15.
15. Wow.
The most important band, I came from the rock and roll first. And the most important bands that I would say would be like Pink Floyd, the British bands, Pink Floyd, Led Zeppelin, also Rush from Canada, big time fans of them. That was basically what started it all. And then a few years later, after I started playing, I started at about 15, 16 years old, I started playing classical guitar. And then everything was Andre Segovia. Basically, he was the main influence for me for the classical. Well, when I started out in Long Island, where I grew up, in the suburbs, about 50, 60 miles away from Manhattan, out east on Long Island there. And for school, for college, I went near Buffalo, south, in a place called Fredonia. Very good music school there. And I studied under James Pierkowski. And he still teaches there, and I actually spoke to him last night. He sent me a comment on my new CD, so I called him, and we spoke for about a half an hour. And we're good friends now. Well, I only have the one with me right now, but I can explain. Here is a picture. This is an electric guitar, and this is called a Telecaster, and it's made by a company in South Korea, Moolon, Moolon, and fantastic instrument. I use it on the last tour. I also use it on the new CD. I got it last October when I went to Korea and met the company there, and I have a nice relationship with them, so I got that instrument from them. And my main electric guitar is a Les Paul. It has bigger pickups. The electronics is different electronics. It feels different. It has a different tone. It's darker. It's fatter in some ways for the electric stuff. Tough to explain quickly, but I have 2 Les Pauls. I have 2 Telecasters like this one. One of the Telecasters is made by a fellow in New York, Rick Kelly, fantastic guitar builder. He takes old wood and makes guitars out of it from the beams of buildings. I have a Stratocaster and a Telecaster, which is in the style of Fender from him, and then this Telecaster. So I guess I have 8 plus 2 acoustics. 2 of these steel strings, and then 1 classical guitar nylon string, which is what I used last 2 weeks, 3 weeks on tour, playing classical guitar. Yeah, so the classical guitar is the final. And the classical guitar is built by a fellow named Jim Holler in Western New York. He's very close to where I went to college. And Roland Dions, he's a famous classical player in France, and composer and arranger. He's one of the top 5 arranger and composers for classical guitar in the world, and he uses the same guitar that I have. He has number 2 of the new style, and I have, I think, number 4. So we have something in common in French.
Okay.
We met, unofficially, we met in 2008. He was working at Electric Ladyland in New York City. He was recording Thunderstruck for the, whatever CD that is, I don't know what it is. But, and I was recording I was playing guitar for someone else's record in the same building, in the same studio. And the air conditioning was broken, so all the studio doors were open. Everybody could see what was going on. And I heard this music with the violin, and we met then. Officially, we met a year later when I was just asked by a friend of mine who had played a couple of shows with David for me to take over the position, because this guy, the guitar player Ben Butler, he got the job for Spider-Man, the musical, as the main guitar player for that. So he took that job over David. Nobody knew who David was in America, in New York. He was just getting popular in Germany. I think he just played his first big shows in Germany for like 5,000 people or something like that. So everything's happened very quickly for him, and for the crossover stuff. But yeah, so we officially met in 2009, and we've been working together ever since. I was really happy to be invited into that world, because as far as I'm concerned, David is one of the top in the world, and Julian, both of these guys are unbelievable musicians in the classical world, and to be invited to play classical with them was a little bit scary, because I haven't done that much recently. So, but I was really grateful that they allowed me to do it, and I think it worked really well. It worked really well. We had a lot of fun together. It was challenging. I was very nervous in the first show, but it was very, very fun, and I would love to do it again. That was definitely the most fun I've had in a while. Well, the difference with classical guitar, and it's not just classical guitar of what you're asking, because playing acoustically, I love playing acoustically. Even when I play my solo show tonight, it's through a pedal board, and it's still electric, because I like the textures of what it allows me to I make loops and I create everything live, and it allows me to expand more as a guitar player. Otherwise, you're just trapped into being a singer-songwriter, and there's a lot of those people out there. You know, the difference between me is that I actually know how to play guitar, you know? Yeah. But the thing with classical guitar, especially with this instrument that I have, is such a beautiful instrument. It's so satisfying to hear in a beautiful hall. It's so satisfying to hear a classical guitar. Yeah. It's amazing. And I love just singing and playing acoustically with no amplification. I enjoy that a lot. I used to do a lot of campfire jams. Trust me, it's fun. Well, of course, and inevitably you want to be a better. If people hear your mistakes, obviously. The best mistakes are the ones that only you hear about. Sure. I'm pretty well known for making everything as loud as possible. So if I make a mistake, it's generally enormous. But I play it with the same bravado that, you know, I just go for it. And sometimes I make a mistake, and sometimes I don't. But yeah, of course that happens. Of course it happens where I think that I did lousy, but people are excited. That actually happened for me in Frankfurt. I thought I did awful the first song, but actually I did awful on the first song, but everybody seemed to be happy with it. Of course, yeah. I mean, after a couple of weeks on the road, things start coming up, and I think the best way we handle it is occasionally I don't go to dinner with everybody. You know? Of course, yeah. Just like working with anybody on a daily basis, it's going to be difficult. But as far as the traveling, working along with David, it's always pretty cool, I have to say. Since October, I've basically been all around the world with him twice. And a lot of that time was just myself and him, because we do the promo in Japan, and then we do promo in Germany, and, you know, different, for, what was the Legacy CD? All the new classical promo, and then in Asia is the promo for whatever he's working on for Rock Symphonies, and because that's all still new over there. But yeah, it's pretty cool. We keep to ourselves, essentially. You know, we have very nice hotels, and we just enjoy our private time. And when it comes to working, it's always good.